Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday. Well, I decided to do a video today since I'm in the I am Myra scenario, trying to become one of the haters, those happy haters. I want some of that sweet wine and delicious cake and cream on top. I want to enjoy the piece of the pie of being on the reactor side of I am Myra. So today, I'm going to elaborate a little bit about what I started talking about yesterday regarding I am Myra holding on to something that most of us can relate to. Uh, and how that is helping us black dark-skinned women psychologically, even though he appears as a colorist. And what I mean by a colorist is that it appears that he does not like black women. Okay. That is the story for another day, because today I'm not going to talk about his preference and European women. And it's really, really funny when you look at all his videos. He's very consistent that his preference of women, his taste in women, is that you have to be fair. And it appears that even the girl from Brooklyn, because even though she's fair, but she has black in her, it didn't seem to click that much when it comes to the romance, because he jumped right back to Priya, who is more like, who has the Asian in her, mixed with a European. So that was his preference. But that's not what we're talking about today, okay? I'm already at almost 2 minutes and I haven't gotten to the subject. The subject is why Mara is in the U.S. and how his friends are supporting him and helping him. And we need to understand that, because Mara in Africa does not have the social, psychological support that he is now finding in his friend Ivan. OK? Merci beaucoup, Ivan, pour tout ce que vous avez fait pour Myra, parce que vous êtes vraiment un ami formidable, et I hope that you continue helping him and being patient with him, because a lot of us do lose our patience with Myra as viewers, but you have continued. That's a really good friend, because I wish I have friends like that, friends that when the whole world is against you, that you have somebody who stands for you. And that's what Ivan is doing right now. And this reminds me of Trump, right? Remember how Trump, like, I don't know, he had a nice amount of votes, and of course, his supporters backed him up. But I love Trump because people hated him. Like, it appeared that he was highly hated, even though, like, he lost the election by a slight margin. But yet, throughout the entire thing, his entire tenure as president, they had caricatures of him all over. Now, I mean, which president they don't? But if you compare Trump to now our Biden president, of course, Trump had a lot more hating going on for him. And I loved it about him because he was very consistent at his point. He never changed his mind. He never twisted his words. And yes, a lot of people will find him to be a dictator, etc. But I liked his genuineness. Ever since Trump became into office, I never heard the problem with political correctness again. A lot of things that were making us, like, social outcasts, feel uncomfortable in society, Trump basically eradicated for us. And this is what's going on with Myra here. All right, Myra is eradicating a lot of the problems with colorism, particularly with male colorism, because he is representing the icon of male colorism, like the epitome of male colorist. Okay, he's a black African man who does not like black women, and he doesn't support us. The black women he supported in Africa, it looked like there was a lot of cajoling coming from his mother to make him support them. But let's get back to our subject. So how is Ivan helping Myra? Well, if we notice, before Myra came into the U.S., there were a few things going on with him. He wasn't getting that social support. Everybody at home wanted to meet Marwa because everybody wants to have a big YouTube channel. They want to monetize. So this is the guy to meet. This is the guy to flatter. Don't talk badly about Myra now, because he will come back and tell you, he doesn't like that. Okay. And I do have a few things, when it comes to colorism, I do have a few things that I know Myra that will not like. Okay. But, all due, let's look at him as a human being. As a human being, I like the guy. He's a genuine Trump type character. Okay. And this is what I like about him, and why it helps me, because he gives me content in the sense of my own battle against colorism. So here is where I feel for him. I really feel for him before he leaves Africa, when he starts showing you the deepness inside of him through his monologues. This is the nice thing about Marwa, is that he does monologues. So that shows you that he is a person, despite he is what that girl, I can't remember her name, the girl he met in New York City, the one from Brooklyn, said something about being in a crowd and alone. Okay, and this is, Myra has been showing that consistently as he is in Kenya. He is the subject of attention, because everybody wants him for their own purpose, right? But he doesn't have any friends, and he said it over and over again. I don't have friends. Okay, so I may be popular or notorious like Trump or whatever, but I do not have friends. I don't have anybody to talk to. Okay, so all of this that I'm presenting is genuine, because I don't really have anyone to talk to. But Ivan is there as a friend for Myra, because not because only because he's hosting him, but because Ivan appears to have a lot of patience with Myra's character. And so let's look at we as viewers, okay, if we're looking at this as a human being, or if we're just looking at this for entertainment, so whichever, let's look at it from the humane part of the character. This individual is a popular YouTuber going on 500,000 subscribers soon, who does not have friends, really, and is very alone, but, is being used by society. So he is so he has a high scrutiny, and society is scrutinizing him highly because he's always with a camera. It's like he doesn't hide anything. So, but at the same time, it's his way. His means of putting everything publicly reminds me of my struggle with colorism, where I had to put everything publicly, because when somebody tells you something one-to-one, they're going to use it against you. They're going to use social engineering to use it against you. So with him, he puts everything on camera, and that is safe. And that is what that girl in Brooklyn or in New York was talking about. You are safe when you are among a crowd, all right, because you can also hide, nobody can harm you really, because it's like you can expose it all. So it's in the eye of everybody. So so being in the public is security, because when you are in isolation, somebody can come and harm you, and then they turn around and then they claim that you're a nutcase or you're a criminal, and you don't have any evidence to show that it's not, because you've been alone. You've been physically alone. So Myra has been physically in crowds for a while now, and that is really a very powerful mechanism of security for somebody who is so alone, emotionally alone. In his house, he is the older brother. I don't know where the eldest sister is, but he is the oldest brother, so he has a lot of responsibility. But the question is, how well is he being socially and mentally supported? Apparently D supports him, but still D makes it very obvious that we have a huge age gap, even though the age gap is not really that great, all right, but that emphasis of the age gap, okay, isolates Myra, even though they seem to be so close, okay, but it's like the responsibility falls back on him. What is the age gap? I think the largest age gap that could be between D and Mara is 6 years, no more. because D is 27 years old or older, maybe 28, and Myra is 33. So there's an age gap of about 6 years. But the way they talk, it makes it sound as if it's more than 10 years. And of course, that is to protect D's own insecurity about getting older. Um, so he's very protected of that. But who's protecting him really? Is his YouTube. His YouTube is protecting him, and so he does monologues. Okay, so I really like that. So in one of his monologues, okay, he titled the video "My Greatest Fear." So I'm looking at the video right now. Let me see if I can show it. Oh, it's not that easy to show the video. All right, where he says "My greatest fear," and in this video, okay, Mara really admits that there is a problem with him. He might have a health issue because not too long after he makes this video, he says that it's not well with me. He has that other video, and then he brushes it off as malaria because I guess that malaria is a common like a cold, the common cold in Africa. Even here, it scares the living daylights out of Americans. So if Myra really did have a malaria, um, it would not have been that easy for him to come into the U.S. So fast after he claims to have had malaria, because I worked in the Department of Health, and it's one of those things that you report to the Department of Health if somebody comes from Africa and they have it. So I don't think Mara has malaria. Let's look at his My Greatest Fear. Let's listen to him. Oh.
Guys, a lot of, and women in this case, not every woman. Okay, this might sound very controversial, but I'm telling you, this is something that has always been disturbing me. So I want to share with you guys actually what's going on. My greatest fear is women. I'm sorry to say that. And women in this case, not every woman. I mean, the woman who I will end up with, you know. That is my greatest fear. I don't know how things will turn out. And now, the worst part is, this is very controversial, but people will kill me after this. So the thing is, I honestly can't commit to one girl. I can't.
Okay, so you heard him. So his greatest fear is women, and then he goes on and on and on, and he says he honestly cannot commit to one girl. What is he telling you there? Especially a few videos later, he's not well. It is not well with me. And then he goes and drinks goat soup that's supposed to make him strong and better, and all of a sudden he's better, and all of a sudden he's in the U.S., a country that really is very picky about malaria. You know, so what is his greatest fear? And the fact that he can't commit to one girl. He is telling you that. And then, of course, he turns it into the whole polygamy, and everybody is out there discussing polygamy, monogamy, polyandry when they're dealing with women. Da, 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 da. Forget about all that. That is all show. Let's look at the real thing. Myra claims to be very sexually active. Now, is that true or not? We don't know. We have to actually speculate more and to be able to come up with a conclusion of really how sexually active is Mara, because I don't think he's that sexually active, especially doing his stay in Kenya. I don't know, but he's not revolving around women. Women are coming to visit him, taking advantage of his popularity on YouTube, and that's it. We don't really see any commitment. Okay, so it looks like the only time he was really active was with the girl from Thailand, where it was obvious. So when he tells you that, he is telling you something that he goes around and is promiscuous. He is admitting that when he is with a woman, he goes around and becomes promiscuous and doesn't commit himself to them. Therefore, at this point in his life, I think he might have caught something, you know? Maybe it's just a small bacteria, that could be cured with penicillin or something, but who knows? Because he is afraid. And it happens to be women. And then he talks about his inability to commit, so that's his promiscuity, right? So and then the women he would be with, that shows you a lot. Does he have something that he might pass to her based on his past activities? We know that he was very likely promiscuous in Colombia. Okay, maybe not like every woman, but I mean, he had some pretty uh, graphic videos to show you there was some kind of promiscuity going on in Colombia. And then we heard about his cheating on Bo. So there was, and we also saw videos where he was going to, when in the Philippines, while he was with Bo, we saw isolated videos where he was going to give money to some girl's mother. So all of this shows you, yeah, this guy is promiscuous, and you guys know what happens when you practice promiscuity is venereal diseases out there. So he, of course, we're not his friends, and we're just his viewers. But he tells us a lot. He drops a lot, especially pay attention to his monologues, because he does soliloquies. He has created in YouTube a completely different genre of art. I mean, it's dramatic. It's like a Shakespearean drama. There are soliloquies in I Am Marwa. So this is what makes him unique from, say, Wodamaya. Wodamaya has 1 million subscribers. He's very intelligent, highly educated. When it comes to education, you cannot compare Marwa. However, when it comes to intelligence, remember Shakespeare, I think he was like he couldn't even pass primary school with grammar, right? And yet he became one of the greatest writers and the father of metaphors and soliloquies, etc. I mean, they existed, but he just went beyond and he made it explode in our literary genres. So here in the dramatic genre, you do have Myra taking that Shakespearean view, which we don't find in so many others. I mean, they may try, but Myra reminds me of a Shakespearean character. Okay, hopefully it won't be a tragic character, mind you, right? Because Shakespeare did write certain comedies, but Myra does have tragic flaws, which we do hope will resolve. I mean, he has created a drama. He has definitely created a life drama, and I'm sure it's healing for him, because for me, I found social media very healing, where he is a character, and we can try to see him, either is he a tragic character, or is he going to become a hero instead of the tragic character, because we do see tragic flaws in him, and one of this is he is admitting his promiscuity. Okay, so this is what I wanted to point out, that Myra being in the US, it's not something we could look badly about. I'm really proud of Ivan. He's really a good friend, and whatever situation he might have been dealing with, with his health, hopefully it will be resolved in the US. There's great medical medicine in the US. If it's just a slight bacteria, it will definitely be resolved. If it's something deeper, he will be able to find the psychological support, apparently in Maryland, that he needs, that we may not be looking deeper into. But as viewers, I know a lot of us do care about Myra, because he connects with us as a character, a possible tragic character that we all all hoping will have a happy ending to. Okay, so we will keep tuned to I Am Myra, who I kept watching, particularly because of his ingenious way of providing evidence for colorism, presenting himself as the epitome of a colorist man, and at the same time not lacking the skill to be as demonic as colorists, because me, I have experienced colorist people and they are the devils. You know how they say white man is the devil? No, the white man is not the devil, because it's like if a white man is racist, they will tell you, they will show it in everything. But a black man being racist, okay, like when it comes to black female men, a black man being racist is the most evil thing that you could possibly encounter, especially if they attack you with the racism under the guise of not being racist. So Myra himself, he admits enough times, like, that's what he doesn't tell you, he's a racist. He doesn't tell you he's colorist. He will fight, he will argue against it, but he shows it over and over and over again. And he is showing you this is how they may behave. They will never tell you that. They will argue it. All right, just like all of us are saying about white people. Oh, they will deny their racism. Well, the same thing about blacks. They deny being racist, okay? And it's a complicated thing, and I think I discussed it in some of my videos, that it is paradoxical, all right? Because when we to deal with black racism, sometimes the help of the white man helps a lot, because a lot of blacks, they will not react to help you until a white person tries to help you. So there's a paradox in black racism. Okay, so some people wanted to know what colorism is. Colorism is racism, all right, but particularly within the black. I used to call it intra-racial racism, where the racism comes from within your own race. So I used to call colorism before I researched about intra-racial racism and found out about colorism, which was something that was developed in the 70s, all right, or that existed in the 70s and probably prior. I didn't go that deep into the research, and then came back to life not a few years after I found out about it. It is prior to that, I used to call it intraracial, because people just got upset. Like if I wrote something about the colorism, white people used to think I was picking on them. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, can't you see all my characters are black? I mean, why are you saying that I'm calling you a racist? I don't care about whites being racist, because they don't affect me that much, because they're not my immediate family. They are not, I don't, I interact a lot with them because I had a lot of opportunities in school in order to do so, in integration and everything. But my immediate family or society happens to be black. So when I talk about racist people in my environment, I'm talking about my own black people. All right, intraracial racism, today mostly termed as colorism. So let us support our brother Mara, okay, in his endeavors, because I don't think he's doing it consciously. I do not think he is doing it consciously, and this is why it's important to study it. I think he is unconsciously, okay, healing black women who have been victims of colorism or interracial colorism. And in the meantime, he may have picked up something in his in his promiscuity. Let us give him support so that he will heal psychologically through whatever he's going through. All right, that's all I had to say. Thank you. Bye bye.